Right. There's a big move possibly on the horizon. Newcastle seem to be in for James Maddison in a pretty big way. I think Leicester City will want a lot more money for his services. He's been a bit of a creative force for the club. His form at the end of last season was pretty good. Had a decent season, I think. Not necessarily as consistent as many would want him to be, particularly to play at the biggest clubs. But now there is a chance of going to Newcastle United with their new owners clearly looking to invest and improve their team. What's happening with Leicester City at the moment under Brendan Rodgers? It's a bit in doubt at the moment, isn't it? They haven't been very active during this transfer window at all. And we heard Darren Bennett a little bit earlier on saying that he thought...
Scathing.
He thought it was a step down to go from Leicester City to Newcastle United.
I take it Benty's not after Newcastle anytime soon.
Could have been.
In any of the thousands of jobs that he's got. It's a step forwards. You've got to look where the two clubs are going. Okay, if you're going to go on just where they finished last year, okay, that's the only argument that you have. But Newcastle is a club on an upward trajectory. Leicester at the moment is on a downward trajectory. They're about to lose Kasper Schmeichel, their goalkeeper. They're losing players left, right and centre. They still haven't brought a player in. Tielemans could go as well.
Wesley Fofana linked with a big money move.
Yeah, so, I mean...
to Chelsea, possibly.
That Leicester at the moment looks like he's a club heading down. You know, their recruitment has been non-existent. Newcastle, with everything that they're putting in place, building for the future, is be a great move for him. It's a sort of player that Newcastle fans would love, you know, a bit of creativity, you know, in that midfield. If I was him, I'd get yourself in that A1 and start driving there, start walking, if I was him.
The thing is, we know that Leicester City are at least shrewd enough to get as much money as they possibly can for their big names. They've done it before in the past. Wesley Fofana, they will not want to lose, but it could be a huge amount of money for a young centre-back. James Maddison could be a huge fee, so it could be upwards of 70 million for Fofana, could be upwards of 60 million for James Maddison.
Doesn't matter if you can't replace these players.
But listen, you factor in Yuri Tielemans, who may leave for, I think it's 20 plus million pounds, and you're suddenly sitting there, as long as you can get some of this money in up front, and a big part of it in up front, you're sitting there with the possibility to go into the transfer market, and though you may have a short period of time to do so, you know, you can freshen up the squad in a way that massively improves your chances for next season. I think Leicester City almost do need to do that.
But it's too late.
They brought in 4 or 5 players last summer who were meant to supplement the squad, make it easier for them to cope with playing European football, and none of those players really had a big effect on the squad. They need something a little bit extra here. And I think they could reinvest it. Obviously, you're losing high-quality players, but it might be a time to cash in. You don't know how the form will go for Fofana or Maddison over the next year, and the value of those two players in particular may drop. Tielemans would be on a free, I think, in 12 months' time, so now is definitely the time to cash in on him. But what would you do, Danny?
If I was him?
If you were Leicester City. If you were Leicester City, when it comes to these 3 players, how would you look at the decision?
They've got no choice, because these players are going to want to leave.
Well, they don't have to sell them.
No, but come on, I've been around the game long enough. Players, if players want to move, they can create situations that force the hand.
Yeah, but that's you're talking about the extreme here.
Not really.
No.
If you go to the manager and say, look, I want to go, and I don't want to be here anymore, I want to go.
Well, Harry Kane did that at Tottenham Hotspur, but it didn't matter until the amount of money that the club wants to come in through the door comes in. You're not going anywhere.
That's really the first time. But Harry Kane was such a good player, you couldn't leave him out. Likes of Maddison, Fofana, you can leave those out, and you can go, well, okay, let you rot. But they're not going to. They can't afford to do that. If you want out badly enough, you can force the hand. Because you end up with just saying, look, I don't want to be here. I don't really want to play. I'll turn up for training. I'll do what I have to do.
So negative, though, Danny. From Leicester City's perspective,
but what are you going to do as a player? Not every player is perfect. Not every player has the morals of an angel. Football doesn't work like that. He's looking at a move.
A lot of players respect their contract, particularly if they know they're going to be in the first team. These 2 players know they're going to be starting for Leicester City.
But he also knows it's a club where you're probably not going to win as many games. You're not going to have as much of the ball. And there's an offer on the table with a project and a club. Hold on. In terms of
football, I know Newcastle played great football, but in terms of football, over the last few seasons, you'd have to say that Leicester, particularly the 2 years...
But they're losing all their players.
Yeah, but they've played good football. What do you mean they're not going to have much of the ball? I mean,
they're not. Well, no, because they're losing all their best players. So you're going to think, well, actually, at best next season, they're going to be mid-table.
They're only losing them if they decide to sell them.
Well, they've lost a few already. So and once you start to lose one or two, then players go, hang on a minute. Where are we headed? I don't want to be part of this. I want to be winning games.
You're almost telling me a reason why Leicester should dig their heels in and try and keep these players, because they don't want to send the signal out there that they're going in a negative direction.
If players don't want to stay, are they going to be 100% motivated? Are they going to put everything in? Did Harry Kane put everything in at the start of the season last year? He didn't score for ages. It affects you. Simple as that. Leicester can't afford to do that.
Just on James Maddison specifically, do you think a move away from Leicester City to Newcastle United at this point in time helps his England chances ahead of the World Cup? Because he really needs to impress.
As long as he stays off the key side in Newcastle, yeah, because he's got a bit of a reputation, hasn't he?
I can't comment on that.
Well, we've seen it. He's been to the odd party, perhaps when he shouldn't have done. But yeah, he needs to go and play. But look at the way that Eddie Howe plays his football. Look at the way that he's. The first look will be, get Maddison on the ball. Get the ball to Maddison. Let him play in that advanced midfield position. Let him be creative. Let him feed those other players. He'll be not a big star up there, but he'll be one of the main players in the team to be creative, like Christian Eriksen was at Brentford. People are you get the ball, you go, where's Maddison? Can I get him the ball? He's going to do something for us. He's going to create something. And of course he'll like that. And Newcastle's a project. It might be that they finish 8th next season, but the season after they're going to be looked to go in 6th, 4th the season after. And he's going to be there for 5-6 seasons if he makes that move. So I think from the position he's in at Leicester at the moment, where everyone wants to leave, it's a very, very attractive proposition.
So if you were James Maddison, you would be going into the club to say, I'm interested in going to Newcastle.
I say I want to go to Newcastle.
It's a shame.
But it's my career, Hugh.
It's your world. Yeah, I've never been in that position.
It's my career. It's a short career. I want to make the most of my career and play in the best teams possible for me.
And he owes Leicester nothing. Doesn't he owe them at least some respect here?
Yeah, 50, 60 million in transfer fee.